Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to an all-new edition of War Week. Guys, this week is our official Gogue's Big Fight preview of Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev. Guys, this wouldn't take place without the counsel of our very good friend, three-decade fight trainer, the one and only Mr. James Gogue. James, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing good.
Well, I tell you what, big fight coming up this week. Weekend, obviously, it's going to be from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Co-promoted from Main Events and Rock Nation Sports. And, you know, it's funny, Gogue, a lot of people, diehards, are really looking forward to this matchup, calling this the best matchup of the year by far, and maybe the best matchup, well, in quite some time. Gogue, do you see it playing out this way, and are you excited for this event?
You know, this fight is not getting a lot of buzz, Joe, have you noticed, in mainstream media. And the biggest supporters of boxing in America, the Latin fan base, okay? In order for any pay-per-view, especially in boxing, to be successful, you got to get the Latin fan base excited. And I just don't see it, Joe. I just don't feel it and everything. But as far as the fight, on paper, the way Ward fights, oh, God. Technically brilliant, okay? But, Joe, he's not very entertaining, okay? Especially if you got to pay $60 to go watch him, you know? That's Ward's biggest problem. He wins, but he's not exciting when he wins. And like Bernard Hopkins told me, you know, over 20 years ago, over in Big Bear Lake, when he was fighting Glenn Cobb Johnson, when he was training up there in Big Bear Lake to fight Glenn Cobb Johnson, he told me, winning ain't good enough. You got to look good. You got to look impressive. And that's the thing. That's what I get from Ward, especially his last fight. Oh my God, you know, that exhibition he put on with that guy, that sparring session. You know, Joe, that didn't get everybody excited. Like, oh man, I got to watch this fight now with Kovalev. You know what I mean? That's why, you know, Joe, there's not that big buzz out there, I think, for this fight. Maybe diehard fans, but the people that make pay-per-view successful here in America, the Latin fan base, nah, it's not happening at all.
Well, I tell you what, going into this, here are the gambling odds, guys. Going into this fight on Saturday night, this is pretty much as even money as you can get. The odds are actually much tighter than the very first Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, right? So listed as the slight betting underdog, Sergey Kovalev is sitting right now at an almost even money, plus 110. Andre Ward is the slight betting favorite, and he's sitting at minus 130. So, Gogue, this is pretty much even money. This is, in other words, the sports books really don't know who's going to win this, and they're not willing to take any risks. The money has been basically on both guys distributed evenly, both fighters distributed evenly, which is why it's still sitting at even money, with Andre Ward being a slight betting favorite. Here are your other odds. If you bet on individual rounds, right, that's where you're going to make the most money. So basically, if you're picking any individual round and Sergey Kovalev to knock out Andre Ward between rounds 4 and 9, that's a 20-to-1. You get 20-to-1 odds there. So for every $100 you bet, you win $2,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you're going to make money in this. If it's just a straight-up Kovalev or straight-up Ward victory, no. You're going to lose money if you bet on Andre Ward because he's the favorite, and you're going to win $110 for every $100 that you bet.
Yeah.
Only netting $10 on this. So, guys, this is as close as it gets according to all the sports books. And we're going to find out from James Gogue if it is indeed, from a technical perspective, if it is indeed that tight when we look at the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters. So here it is, the tail of the tape for Andre Ward, who's going to be coming in as the title challenger, even though he is well, has the distinction of being one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing. He comes into the ring at age 32. He fights out of the orthodox stance. He stands 6 feet, even in the center of the ring. He fights behind a 71-inch reach, originally from San Francisco, California, now residing across the bridge in Oakland. He has a perfect record of 30 wins, 0 losses, 15 big wins coming by way of knockout. Gogue, what are the strengths and weaknesses of Andre S.O.G. Ward?
Oh, ring intelligence, number one. High boxing IQ. Footwork. Everything starts with his footwork, Joe. He knows how to move in and out of range, moves in circles. Okay? It starts with his footwork. Then he works a very, very proficient jab to control that range and distance, okay? He feints beautifully to keep you off balance, to keep you off timing. His defense, okay? He has a similar game plan to like Floyd Mayweather when he fights you. His game plan is pretty much to take you out of rhythm offensively. And he does that by frustrating you with his great defensive skills, okay? One thing I like about Andre Ward, he mixes his defense up beautifully. He moves in and out of range, okay? When you're about to get off on him, he'll just take a couple steps out of range real quick just to make you miss. Or, he has that good proficient jab to keep you at range so he gets hit less. He's got great head and upper body movement, Joe, just to make you, he'll move his head slightly, very adeptly, just to make you miss, okay? Stuff like that. Of course, when you get inside the pocket, he loves to hold and grab you and tie you up and, blow a kiss on your cheek and everything, to make sure, you don't get no punches off on the inside. But just overall, Joe, his ring generalship, his ability to use his great defensive skills to keep you off timing and rhythm offensively, to frustrate you, and that's what he wants, just like Floyd Mayweather. Get you out of rhythm, get you out of timing, frustrate you. As the rounds go on, your confidence level starts sinking, and that's when you'll start picking it up and what do you call it, Joe? Taking over the fight. But his sharp. I forgot to mention his sharp counter-punching skills. Not only with his jab, the counter right hand, the counter check hook, stuff like that, Joe. He uses to frustrate you even more. Okay, but it starts with this. His game starts with his footwork. Okay, the jab, the feints, the counter punching skills, the great counter punching skills he has, and stuff like that. He fights inside rarely. I haven't seen him fight proficiently inside the pocket since the Super 6 or Super 8, whatever that tournament was. And maybe Chad Dawson, he fought in the pocket, not with a high degree of consistency, but when he did fight in the pocket, he was proficient in what he did. And I really believe, Joe, to beat a guy like Kovalev who has no inside skill sets in the pocket, Andre, when he gets in the pocket, he's got to take some chances, Joe. He's got to grow some balls. Okay, fighting in the pocket, a lot of guys are scared to fight in the pocket because they don't want to get hit. But Andre, he's got to take some chances in the pocket because he could do it. He throws good short uppercuts, left hooks to the body. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Left hooks to the head. But he's got to. And I've seen him when he was working with Virgil on the pads a lot recently. They're working on inside. Throwing them combinations and them short, sharp, crisp combinations on the inside, and taking hopefully they see what I see. Kovalev's inability to fight in the pocket because he has no skill sets, plain and simple. Kovalev's game is long range. Okay, when you get in the pocket, he don't know how to throw short, compact uppercuts, body shots, and all that stuff. He needs that. He needs that distance to throw those. He throws body shots, but he throws it more like a distance. You know what I mean? Rather than in the phone booth. But Ward, to me, he can exploit Kovalev if he got in the pocket. But that all comes down to, Joe, you got to have balls. You got to want to take chances. And Andre Ward's been, bitching and complaining that nobody gives him any respect. Well, hell, take some more damn chances, okay? Be exciting, okay? Put a one-sided ass whipping on Kovalev, okay? Then people will give you the respect, that you want. But if you fought like the way you fought against that punching bag, you fought, in Oakland, ain't nobody gonna give you no respect, man. They want to see exciting fighters. Okay, we're in the entertainment business. Okay, it's not just winning, but you got to be entertaining and look good, like Bernard Hopkins told me. So, stuff like that, Joe. He's got to, he's got to step up his damn game. This is the biggest fight of his career, and he's got to look good. And to me, one way he could look good, Joe, not only his overall outside game, but in the pocket to exploit Kovalev's weakness. I think he can really shine.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's the big thing, though, Gogue. It's funny, and I agree. Yeah, absolutely. That if there is any glaring weakness, right, that we've seen, but it's very, very difficult to exploit. Bernard Hopkins actually tried to close that distance and exploit Kovalev's inability to fight on the inside, but he couldn't get there. Kovalev is very, very proficient at controlling range and keeping that distance between him and his opponent to get that leverage on his shots. So
Bernard don't know how to fight inside. Okay, he it was more just to tie him up and everything, not to work. Okay, and Bernard was fighting very safety first. Okay, moving around, not taking no chances. Like a 50-year-old fighter does. So, but Ward's smart and tricky. He'll know how to slip inside and get in the pocket if he has to. Okay, for Bernard, it was more out of self-preservation rather than taking advantage of Kovalev's weaknesses.
Indeed. So here's a tell of the tape for Sergey Kovalev. He is age 33. Fights out of the orthodox stance. He stands exactly 6 feet, no inches tall. He fights behind a very lengthy 72.5-inch reach. Originally from Kopiask, Russia. Now resides training with John David Jackson in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Managed by Igis Klimas. He comes into the ring with a an almost perfect resume. 30 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw, and 26 impressive wins coming by way of knockout. Gogue, he is the champ, the defending WBA, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight champion. Gogue, why has he been so effective and seemingly very avoided light heavyweight fighter?
Joe, he's got, basic, solid, fundamental skill sets at distance. Good footwork. Moves in and out of range, like you talked about. He has a good, punishing jab. He works as John David Jackson has taught him how to use his jab more proficiently by not just only going to the head, but, working, going to the chest with it, going to the body with it, okay? Mixing up the targets with his jab, okay? Then, of course, Joe, brutal, physical. No, his brutal one-punch punching power, okay? That's what separates him from all the light heavyweights out there. His brutal one-punch punching power. He's physically strong too, Joe. He's a physically strong guy, but his punching power, like Mark McGuire, I will say, you might strike him out 4 times. The 5th time you get him to the plate, you might have a 3-2 pitch count on him, but you throw a bad pitch at him, goodbye.
Wow.
The ball's out of the ballpark. It's the same thing with Kovalev. You make a mistake on Kovalev anytime during the fight, Ward's going to be on his butt. Okay, you can't make no mistakes. Andre's got to fight pretty much a very perfect defensive fight. Okay, and not get hit by that big right hand of Kovalev. Okay, that's his bread and butter. The Crusher's bread and butter. That straight right hand, and when he hits you, oof. It's an earthquake, okay? It makes you shake, you know what I mean? An earthquake on a magnitude 8.8 Richter scale type of, punch. And that's Kovalev, that's what separates him from the average, light heavyweight out there, like that what's that guy that's fighting on the card we talked about earlier, that light heavyweight, Chilemba, okay? Chilemba got great skills. Crafty, sneaky counter puncher, good those good offensive combinations, athletic, but he can't hit like Kovalev. Okay, Kovalev can punch. Okay, that's Lucas Matisse when he was doing good, basic fundamental skills, but he can hit. Okay, and that's a rare. Being able to punch like that, Joe, God either gave you it or he didn't. And Kovalev, yeah, that's why it makes this fight interesting. Andre Ward's great, high boxing IQ, great ring generalship, high world-class skills offensively and defensively, but can you avoid getting hit by that right hand the whole fight? That's going to be the big $1 million question.
Indeed. Gogue, what are the chances of this fight actually living up critically to the expectation, and what are the chances of this pay-per-view actually living up to commercial expectation? Because think about this, Gogue, and it's been reported, I don't know how accurate this is, we'll find out on the day of the weigh-in from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, but it's been reported that Andre Ward is demanding, and he's been guaranteed by Rock Nation Sports, a $5 million guarantee going into this fight with a pay-per-view upside.
Pay-per-view
okay,
upside. There ain't
HBO,
no
exactly. HBO is merely projecting a very modest 250,000 to 300,000 pay-per-view buys, and I'll be very surprised if they get that, because no one in the mainstream and casual realm even knows that this is taking place.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Gogue, so two things. In your opinion, before you tell everyone how this is going to play out and who wins this fight, do you actually see this being an entertaining scrap? And two, what is your pay-per-view projection in terms of number of purchases per household?
That's accurate. More, not 300, more like 200 to 250. Look, Joe, they had a pay-per-view this month, Manny Pacquiao, okay, against Jesse Vargas, okay? They had another pay-per-view last week with Conor McGregor, okay? Now we're going to have a pay-per-view, the third fight, a combative sports pay-per-view, third week in a row? Oh, come on, man. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah.
I see this fight doing maybe 150 to 200, honestly, okay? Not
yeah,
250 to 300, okay? 150 to 200. And that, to me, that'd be a grand slam, and, as far as, guaranteeing Ward $5 million, guess what? That's not my problem. That's Rock Nation's problem. So who cares? But, that's what I see, Joe. I mean, 3 combative pay-per-views this month. Pacquiao, McGregor, now this one. And this one right here is a pay-per-view, mainstream fans don't know none of these guys. Hardcore Latino fans ain't going to support it because, ain't a Latin fighter fighting. There ain't no Latin fighters fighting on the undercard. You know what I mean, Joe? And plus, we're still feeling the toxic effects of the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight that happened 2 years ago, And, people don't, they don't want to buy, pay-per-view no more for boxing, that is.
You know what this reminds me of, Gogue? This almost reminds me of, a movie like in the motion picture industry, and they're very similar. All the entertainment fields are very similar. This almost reminds me of the independent feature that's critically acclaimed that comes out the week after a big Marvel Cinematic Universe release, like Civil War or something. or Deadpool. And so this is coming right after the weekend following the huge commercial success at Madison Square Garden this past Saturday, Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. Yeah.
Eddie Alvarez, I'm sorry. That one had an unprecedented $17 million at the gate alone. Dana White stated that this is probably the best pay-per-view numbers that they've ever done with Conor McGregor.
1.6 million they predict on the conservative side.
1.6 million they projected, and they're being conservative, yes.
Holy mackerel.
With that said, is there anything left over for Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, and what does it say for the health of the sport, seeing that most critics, writers, diehard fans are touting this as the most impactful matchup to the sport this year, 2016?
It says we in trouble. Boxing has 2016 has been the worst year of boxing I ever been involved in. Since I've been in the sport, I don't know, over 30 years, and I never seen nothing like this. And it all starts with the people that control boxing, giving fans the worst matchups out there. They're not giving the fans they're not giving the matchups fans want. Canelo, Golovkin, Maricon, talking all that shit when he fought Cotto. I'm from Mexico. We don't F around. We'll fight you next. And 2 weeks later, he vacates his belt like a little puto he is, okay? Okay? Everybody wanted to see that fight, but Hoto, walked away. Al Heyman, all his fighters, Broner, Danny Garcia, intriguing matchups against Pacquiao, and they turned it down. Joe, this is the year, boxing, this is the year of boxing where fighters don't want to fight each other. Though they talk big, a.k.a. Danny Jacobs, another clown, another fraud. If you really wanted to fight somebody, they'll put their name on the contract. But Danny Jacobs used every excuse in the book. I need 12 weeks, and I need to eat I need to eat Cheerios and Gatorades for 6 weeks to get my nutrition. And every excuse in the book I heard. And these fighters, Joe, it's a joke. And that's why boxing, it's failed. Not only the pay-per-view receipt numbers, but the ratings. Okay. And the fan interest, it turned a lot of fans away, man. Like, I don't want to see this crap. And the 5 champions they have in one division, all this stuff, Joe, all that crap that we had that UFC doesn't have. Okay, that's why UFC, they're going through a renaissance right now over here in America. Conor McGregor and all the other packed shows they have, because they give the fans what they want, the best fights possible. None of this. Al Heyman, he's the biggest poison out there, the biggest piece of shit in boxing the last 30 years I've been in it, protecting and nurturing and coddling his fighters and making sure they don't fight each other. You know what I mean? He's the biggest culprit out there, okay? So there's a lot of reasons why boxing stinks. And next year, hey, man, I guess they're starting to get it, and there's going to be a lot of great fights made next year with Heyman fighters, Arum, and everybody else. They're going to start, hey, you got to fight. You got to fight. And Francisco Vargas, Orlando Salido, we got to have fights like that all the time, man, to make it hot and sizzling, okay? We just can't have it once every, 8 months, 12 months. It don't happen like that, man. UFC, they consistently have good fights all the time, good scraps all the time. But not in boxing, No, this is the era where fighters talk big. They talk big, but when it's time to put their pen to the paper, they pee in their pants. AKA Billy Joe Sanders and that Eubanks guy, Eubanks Jr. over there in England. Oh God, Joe. So yeah, let's see. Like I said, that's why Joe. That's one of the reasons why there's not a lot of buzz for this fight, Joe, because everything that's been going on in boxing this year, a lot of people can't get excited for this fight. They're turned off by it. Would you agree?
Yeah, unfortunately, I absolutely would. So, Gogue, a lot of it has to do with the, players in the matchup. Even though Sergey Kovalev, he's one of the more entertaining fighters in all of the boxing, unfortunately, no one outside of the diehard community knows who this guy really is, even though he's been featured on HBO quite a bit the past several years. And Andre Ward, even though he's a former American gold medalist, he really hasn't caught on, and he's the winner of the Super 6 a half a decade ago now. He really hasn't caught on to the mainstream and casual level because of his style of fighting. So this is a very, very tough sell to the mainstream and casual audiences who are looking for rock'em sock'em robots. And that almost seems to be the perception right now. They're almost looking for reasons not to tune into boxing outside of the Hispanic community in America, they're almost looking for reasons to snub their noses at boxing. It's become almost in vogue to basically crap on the sport, proclaim it as a dead pastime in America.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, to your prediction, I guess your prognostication, do you think that this is going to do anything to revive the sport, Gogue?
This fight coming up?
Yep, Saturday night.
Nothing. It ain't gonna do nothing. Especially if it's a stinker. Joe, if this fight's a stinker, that's just gonna turn more fans off not to buy pay-per-view in the future. Okay? Ward can make a statement this night, okay? Like I said, when he's in the pocket, he's got to work consistently and exploit those weaknesses of Kovalev in the pocket and hurt him and dominate him, okay? That will raise his credibility in the sport. But if he goes out there and just gets the win, safety first, stinks out the joint, man, people ain't gonna buy this crap no more. They're not gonna buy it. You got this is the entertainment business, Joe. He's got to win. He's got to look good. He's got to entertain the fans out there. Okay, so but we'll see how big of balls Andre Ward has come this Saturday night. If he's going to play it first, not take no chances, just do enough to win, or is he going to take some chances? And be more physical and assertive in the pocket, which I think he should do, and and exploit Kovalev's weaknesses on the inside.
Gogue, here's the thing, though. Can he do it? Can he do it? I mean, think about this, Gogue. He was exceptional at 168 pounds, right? And a lot of people talk about his resume being one of the best in, I guess, among all of the elite level fighters, right? Having proven himself without a shadow of a doubt at 168 pounds. But when you think about it, Gogue, how long ago was the Super 6 final?
That was 5 years ago.
He defeated Carl Froch at the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, right, to win the Super 6 in December of 2011. Gogue, that was almost exactly half a decade ago. Is Andre Ward capable of pulling off an elite-level performance against another elite-level fighter? Is he still that same guy? Should we expect vintage SOG at 175?
Joe, he hasn't fought no top-level competition in a long time since that Super 6 tournament. Then he got in a lawsuit with his old his ex-promoter, Dan Goosen, and he was off for a while. Then he comes back and fought, what's that guy, Joe, Sullivan Barrera, okay? He beat him, in a fight coming back. Then all of a sudden he beats that that guy from England, the Smith brothers, and then he fights that punching bag. Oh, come on, Joe. That doesn't, iron sharpens iron in boxing, okay?
Indeed.
Iron sharpens iron. Fighting guys like that don't do nothing for him. And to me, Joe, he ain't the same fighter like he was when he fought in the Super 6 tournament. Nah, I don't think he is because of the level of competition he's fought the last 5 years. That hasn't gotten him better. That, to me, it regressed him. It regressed his career. So, like I said, Joe, when you lay off and you don't fight, you get your tools get dull. They get stale. Okay. Then when you come back and fight guys that don't give you that competition you need, your tools don't sharpen up. Okay. But anyway, like I said, let's just wait and see how this fight plays off. Andre might surprise everybody and put on a Academy Award performance like he never done before. Okay. And then get that respect that he's been wanting ever since he turned pro.
Well, at age 32, he'd better get on the stick. He's not getting any younger. And I tell you what, this is it. This is it seemingly for Andre Ward. This is the fight. Yeah. This is the one and he's already stated going into this is going to cement my legacy.
That's it.
Well, we'll see what happens, guys. It's going to take place on Saturday, November 19th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Brought to you by HBO PPV, promoted by main events in Kathy Duva as well as Rock Nation Sports. Gogue, so how does this one play out? Who wins and why? How do you see this one taking place here?
Of course, when first round's always a filling out. See what both fighters are gonna examine each other and see what they're doing. They're gonna get into rhythm. Both fighters are gonna execute their game plan, which Ward is controlling range and distance with his footwork, with good jabs, feints, counters, sharp counters when Kovalev gets in the distance. When Kovalev overreaches and extends himself, Ward's definitely gonna capitalize off that with that the counter check left hook and everything. If Kovalev comes in there and Ward sees an opening, like that straight right hand is there, he's gonna sneak that in and everything, and just control everything, using his footwork and his great defensive skills to start, frustrating Kovalev and breaking him down mentally. So as the fight goes on, he hopes Kovalev starts getting, Kovalev totally gets off his rhythm, off his timing, off his game plan offensively, and he can't do nothing, That's what Ward wants to do. Frustrate him, break him down mentally before he starts breaking him down physically. And the way he does that with his, like I said, with his high boxing IQ, his ring generalship, in controlling range and distance with his jab, his sharp counters, and his ability to to make you miss consistently where Kovalev's not landing that big right hand. But Ward, like I said, he's got I really believe, Joe, I just got a feeling he might work inside in the pocket to expose those deficiencies of Kovalev of the inside game. If he does that and he works proficiently doing that, and he lands some clean shots, and it shows clearly that he's dominating this guy with those clean shots, well, hey, he's becoming more entertaining and everything. He's taking more chances, you know what I mean? He's putting his balls on the line instead of being Mr. Safety First, don't want to take chances, Hey, Joe, this is his night to become a star. I know he's a star, but to become a star, a superstar that is respected by the great fans out there, this is his night to do it. This is his opportunity to do it, to become that superstar and have that respect by the great fans out there, which he feels he ain't getting, especially by the mainstream media. So I really believe that's going to be Ward. That's what he's going to do, like I talked about. Frustrate, mentally break down Kovalev, get him off his game plan, then execute his game plan, which is, the counter punching, the work, controlling with the jab, stuff like that, Joe. Leading with combinations. Once he feels Kovalev's not going to counter and is real hesitant to counter, he'll start leading with combinations and everything more efficiently. But just breaking them down mentally, Joe. The process like Mayweather does, but with different skill sets that Ward does. That's all. As far as Kovalev, hey man, he's got to physically. That fight he had with who did he fight the last fight, Joe? That fight in Russia? What's the guy's name?
Isaac Chilemba.
Chilemba gave him a tough fight. Why? He had a similar style like Ward. Crafty, long, rangy, sneaky, quick. Quick snap, quick, unpredictable jab, sharp counters, and he was beating what's his name to the punch a lot of times in the early rounds. And he had a hard time with that crafty style, and you could see he was getting frustrated. But hey, once he started getting used to the speed of Chilemba, and once he started getting a good feel of what Chilemba was doing, he started pressing the action. He started becoming more physical with his jab to the body, head, to the chest, and then Joe, once Kovalev starts getting in range, and once he starts getting in rhythm with that jab and he's hitting you a lot, that big right hand's going to land. He likes to throw that right hand straight, that right hand straight, not only to the head, but right to the to the body. He'll throw that, he'll jab, and throw that straight right hand to the body and everything. But when he hits you on the chin, Joe, that's why he's feared in boxing, because his ability to take you out, to put you on your ass anytime during the fight, you know what I mean? But once he started applying that physical pressure, and that's what he's gonna have to do with Ward. If you can't hit him to head with a jab or combinations, he's got to start punishing him with that jab to the body, to the chest, to that lead shoulder. He's got to throw that right hand straight, to Ward's body instead of the head, okay? And when he's on the inside, Ward likes to drop down to the right. When you throw a right hand, he likes to drop down right under that right hand and not get hit by him. Kovalev ought to, jab him, and start throwing that right hand once he drops down, come up with that uppercut, okay? And, of course, dig them body shots. John David Jackson said he's going to hit Kovalev. I mean, he's going to hit Ward with a lot of body shots and everything. But, geez, I haven't seen that in Kovalev yet. Getting in the pocket and ripping consistent body shots, wearing a guy down. You know what I mean? I've seen Kovalev, being physical when he has a difficult style in front of him, like a Chilembo, and putting the pressure on with that good jab. Chest, stomach, head, where any target you can hit. Then I've seen him, once he gets in the range, let that right hand go. I've seen him do that. I've seen him, counter with the right hand too effectively too. When you get in range, you miss, he'll counter with that right hand. But he uses his footwork to move in and out of range beautifully too, Joe. That's going to throw Ward off too. Because if he just keeps coming, if he just moves forward in a straight line, you know what I mean? He's a predictable fighter, okay? And Ward will have an easy time countering him with those sharp counters he likes to throw, the counter left hook, counter right hand, catch him coming in with a jab and stuff like that. But if he moves in and out of range, yeah, that's going to break Ward's timing a lot for him to land them effective counters, okay? But if he just keeps coming forward, yeah, then Ward will see the openings and he'll counter. But if he moves, if he mixes his game up in and out of range, in and out, moving in and out, but putting the pressure when he has to, and working that jab efficiently and throwing that right hand to the body, starting and setting it up with the right hand to bodies, then once he starts hitting his target, he'll have a good feel on when to throw that right hand to head. And when he lands it on Ward, Ward's going to be on his ass. He's going to get hurt. Okay, Ward doesn't have he's got a suspect chin, like people say. But if Kovalev hits him with that right hand, that's the $1 million question, Joe. So far, I haven't seen a fighter in boxing get away from Kovalev's big right hand. Okay, I haven't seen one yet. Okay, I haven't seen a fighter get away from that big right hand, and because of his, big amateur background in the Eastern European style fighting, moving in and out of range with the footwork, working behind that long, proficient jab. And, you know what I mean? He does have good boxing skills, okay? He does have, but this is a different type of animal he's fighting in Andre Ward, a guy that's has a very highly sophisticated defensive, game plan that he always puts on the table every time he fights, okay? So he's got him and John David Jackson, they did a lot of studying and, for this fight, watching a lot of tape on Ward and how to penetrate that defensive game plan of Andre Ward to land that big right hand they want to learn, that big right hand they want to land. That's the key, Joe, to land that big right hand, okay? Not miss with it consistently and get frustrated and get out of rhythm, okay? If he could go 30 to 40, 30% to 35% on landing that right hand, well, one of them right hands is going to hurt Ward, okay? Okay? So, but that's a big question, Joe. His ability not to get frustrated by Ward's great defensive skills and great counter-punching skills to frustrate you, get you out of timing and rhythm, and just stick to his game plan. And like he did with who did he fight? Chilemba, his last fight.
Yes,
started getting physical. Putting that pressure on him, and working behind that proficient jab and start landing them big hard blows, and that's what wears you down, Joe. His physical strength, them big right hands he lands on you. But it all comes down to this: when he gets in the pocket, who the ref's going to be, Joe?
The referee for this fight, Robert Byrd. Oh, good. He doesn't put up with any nonsense.
No holding and everything. That's why
He's a Hall of Fame ref.
I really believe Andre could take advantage of those opportunities where and fight in the pocket, which Byrd allows you to do. Byrd don't put up with that bullshit of letting you tie up consistently. He knows he's roughing a boxing match, not an MMA fight. So when he's in the pocket, he don't put up with that stuff. So Ward will have those opportunities when he's in the pocket to work effectively. But is he going to have the mindset, okay, the cojones, and that mental toughness to do it, okay? Because they're usually scared to get hit by return punches, but Kovalev doesn't have no proficient inside game offensively, so he could take advantage of that. So, but Kovalev, yeah, like I said, it'll be similar. It was great that he fought a guy like Chilemba before he fought Ward. To fight that type of awkward, sneaky counter-punching style moving guy that makes it difficult for any fighter to fight, and to get that, to get it out of the way, to get that experience he needed to fight a guy like Ward. Yeah. So it was a great move by what's that guy, his manager, Egis Klimas, to get the perfect opponent to tune him up for a guy like Andre Ward.
Yeah, guys, it's going to take place once again this Saturday night, November 19th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be produced and distributed live by HBO PPV, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So, Gogue, do you feel like going out on a limb and actually projecting a winner for this fight?
Joe, man, since this fight was made, I kept going back and forth, Ward. But I'm sticking to my guns, man. I'm going with Kovalev. Why? He's been fighting superior competition the last 4 years. That fight he had with Chilemba was a perfect opponent to get him ready for a guy like Ward. Ward, last 5 years, fought nobody except that Sullivan Barrera, and the other two clowns he fought were just punching bag workouts, okay? That ain't the type of competition that takes your game to the next level, Joe. And to me, his tools have gotten kind of stale, especially the last 5 years, Joe. Come on now. Inactivity, lack of fight. I mean, 3 fights in the last 5 years or something like that? Come on, man. But then again, he's such a highly intelligent, athletic fighter. Sometimes they'll overcome that. Them long layoffs, not staying busy, regularly. Guys like Sugar Ray Leonard proved it and everything. So let's see if he could be like Sugar Ray Leonard and get a big victory Saturday night by using his physical gifts, his ring IQ and all that other stuff. Even without getting top level competition to prepare him for a guy like Kovalev. We shall see. But I'm going with Kovalev. I'm sticking to my guns. I feel if he fights a fight like he did with Chilemba and he hits Andre Ward, I don't think he's going to knock out Ward. But I think he'll give him the solid punches he hits Ward with. I think that will be, if he hits him. That's another thing. That will be enough. The decisive blows that he hits Ward with, I think that will be enough to win. But like I said, I'm not Mr. Perfect. I'm just going by what I've seen from both guys over the last couple years.